My name is Lena Carter. I'm 28 years old, and on the day I was supposed to marry the man of my dreams, I realized I was about to marry into a nightmare. It didn't happen at the altar. It didn't happen when I said I do. No, it happened when I saw my mom standing alone, holding her purse like she didn't belong. And my dad? Yeah, he wasn't even inside the room. Let me explain. But before I do, if you've ever had someone make your family feel less than, drop "not today" in the comments. Because what I did next, it changed everything. Let's rewind. June 22nd. Hot, sticky summer morning in Ashford, Kentucky. One of those towns where everybody knows your business before you do. I woke up in my childhood bedroom. Same faded blue walls, same crack in the ceiling I used to stare at when I couldn't sleep. And for a second, just a second, I felt peaceful. Then I remembered. I was getting married to Ethan Brooks, golden boy, country club royalty, family money that went further than anyone could track. And me? I was the daughter of a mechanic and a diner waitress. Yeah, real fairy tale vibes. My dad, Rick Carter, spent 30 years fixing engines. Hands always covered in grease, nails cracked, back bent from years under cars. My mom, Donna, worked double shifts at a roadside diner. She remembered every customer's order like it was second nature. We didn't have much, but we had everything: love, respect, loyalty. Things money can't buy, no matter how hard you try. I met Ethan at a hospital fundraiser. I was a registered nurse. He was there shaking hands, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He smiled at me like I was the only person in the room. And yeah, I fell for it. Hard. At first, he was perfect, texting me good morning every day, driving an hour just to bring me coffee on my night shifts, telling me my parents were real people, like that was something he admired. I believed him. That was my first mistake. Because then I met his family. His mom, Veronica Brooks. Picture this: perfectly styled blonde hair, diamonds on every finger, voice sweet enough to fool strangers, but sharp enough to cut you if you listened closely. The first thing she said to me? "Oh, a nurse. How grounded." Yeah, that kind of tone. I ignored it, because love does that. It makes you excuse things you'd normally run from. The wedding planning? Oh, that's where things started getting messy. Actually, scratch that. That's where I should have walked away. Veronica picked everything. Venue? Her choice. Menu? Her choice. Guest list? Her choice. My mom suggested adding her homemade peach cobbler to the dessert menu. Veronica laughed. Not loud, just enough. "Oh, honey, this isn't a bake sale." My mom smiled like it didn't hurt, but I saw it. I always saw it. Every time I pushed back, Ethan hit me with the same line. "Just let her have this one, babe. After the wedding, it's just us." Just us. Funny how that phrase can hide so much. Wedding day came fast, too fast. By noon, everything looked like something out of a magazine. White roses everywhere, crystal glasses, soft music floating in the air. Perfect. Fake, but perfect. Then I noticed something. The seating. Front tables, all Brooks family. Business partners, country club friends, wealthy faces I didn't recognize. My side? Scattered, pushed back, barely visible. I told myself it was just logistics. I told myself not to overthink it. Yeah, I was lying to myself. After the ceremony, I slipped into the reception hall early. Something felt off. Call it instinct. Call it gut feeling. Call it whatever you want. But I checked. Table 1, front and center, where both families were supposed to sit. I picked up the name cards, one by one. None of them were mine. None of them were my parents'. My chest tightened. I kept looking. Table 12, table 15. Then I found them. Table 18, back corner, right next to the service door and the catering station. Plastic chairs, dim lighting, half hidden from the room. My parents' names sitting there like they didn't matter, like they were an afterthought, like they were embarrassing. I went straight to Ethan. He was fixing his tie, checking himself in the mirror, like nothing was wrong. Why are my parents in the back? He didn't even look surprised. Mom adjusted things. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. They're next to the service door, Ethan. He sighed. Actually sighed, like I was the problem. Lena, can we not do this right now? That moment, that was the crack. The first real crack. But I still wasn't done, because deep down, I still hoped he'd fix it, that he'd choose me, choose us, choose what was right. So I went back, one more chance. And that's when I heard it. The door was slightly open. I wasn't trying to listen, but I heard my name, then my dad's. Veronica's voice came first. Rick looks like he came straight from a garage. That suit is antique. A pause. Then Ethan. Calm. Casual. Like he was talking about the weather. They're fine where they are. And just like that, everything inside me went quiet. Not loud, not dramatic, just still. You ever have that moment where something breaks, but it doesn't shatter? It just ends. Yeah, that was mine. I stepped back, took a breath, and realized something. I wasn't about to marry this man, and what I did next, nobody. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I lay there staring at the ceiling in my childhood room, the same faint crack running across the paint like it had when I was 16. Except now, everything felt different. Like I had stepped out of one life and into another in the span of a single sentence. You don't belong here. That line kept echoing, but it wasn't her voice anymore. It was mine. Because the truth is, for 2 years, I had been shrinking myself to fit into a world that never planned to make space for me. And walking out, that wasn't the moment I lost something. That was the moment I finally stopped losing myself. The next morning, the town already knew. Small towns don't wait for confirmation. They don't need press releases. News travels through glances, whispers, and half-finished sentences at the grocery store. By 10 a.m., 3 different people had texted my mom. Is Fonda okay? We heard something happened at the wedding. Tell her we're proud of her. Proud. That word hit different, because the night before, I kept wondering if I'd embarrassed my parents. Turns out, I gave them their dignity back. Garrett didn't stop calling. New numbers, blocked IDs, emails that got longer, messier, less polished. First, it was, "Baby, we can fix this." Then, "You overreacted." Then, "You made me look like a joke in front of everyone." And finally, "You'll regret this." That last one, that's when I knew I made the right call. Because regret doesn't sound like fear. It sounds like control slipping away. 3 days later, I went back to the clinic. I didn't make an announcement, didn't walk in like some hero. I just clocked in, grabbed my chart, and got to work. Mrs. Patterson in room 3 needed her blood pressure checked. A kid in room 5 had a fever. Life didn't pause because mine flipped upside down. But something felt different. Every step I took felt lighter, like I wasn't carrying something heavy anymore, like I didn't have to prove anything to anyone. Patricia caught me in the hallway. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. She looked at me for a long second, then smiled. "Good," she said, "because what you did, not a lot of people have the guts for that." I shrugged. "I just told the truth." She shook her head. "No," she said, "you chose yourself." 2 weeks later, that's when everything changed again. The test was positive, and just like that, the story didn't end when I walked out of that wedding. It got bigger, messier, realer. I sat on that bathroom floor for a long time holding that little plastic stick like it weighed 100 pounds. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about a life. A tiny, beating heart that didn't care about seating charts or last names or country clubs. Just needed love. And I already knew where that love would come from. When I told my dad, he didn't say a word at first. He just stood there. Then he walked over, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, "Guess I'd better start building something." I blinked. "What?" He smiled. "Every kid needs a place for their books." That was it. No judgment, no panic, no "what are you going to do?" Just showing up. That's what real love looks like. Not speeches, not appearances, just being there. Garrett's reaction, predictable. He wanted control back. Suddenly, he was ready to step up. Suddenly, we were a family. Funny how respect shows up real quick when consequences do. But I didn't fall for it, because I'd already seen who he was when it mattered. Not when things were easy, not when things looked good, but when it cost him something to do the right thing, and he chose wrong. That doesn't change overnight. Months passed. Court dates, paperwork, boundaries. No drama, no shouting matches, just quiet, firm decisions. And slowly, life started to feel normal again. Not the old normal, a better one. The day my daughter was born, everything went quiet. Not in the room, but inside me. Like all the noise, all the chaos, all the second-guessing just stopped. They placed her in my arms, and I swear I felt something click into place, like this was always where I was meant to end up. Not in that ballroom, not at that head table, right here, holding her. I named her Elise, and I gave her my last name, Marshall. Not because I had to, because I wanted to, because that name meant something. It meant hard work. It meant showing up. It meant loving people without conditions, and I wasn't about to trade that for anything. A year later, life looks nothing like it did back then, and somehow, it's everything I didn't know I needed. Sunday dinners at my parents' house, Mom's cooking filling the whole place, Dad making Elise laugh until she hiccups, Margot dropping by like she lives there. No fancy plates, no assigned seats, no pretending, just people who choose each other every single time. Garrett? He shows up for his weekends. He tries, I'll give him that. But there's a distance now. Not because I built a wall, because he didn't cross the bridge when it was right in front of him. And some moments you don't get back. Constance? She never met Elise. Not once. Not because I blocked her, because she refused to meet us halfway. Still waiting for the world to adjust to her. Still thinking respect is something you demand instead of earn. Some people never change. And that's okay, because I did. One night, after putting Elise to sleep, I sat on the couch scrolling through old photos. There was one from the wedding day. Not the ceremony, not the stage, but a blurry shot someone took in the background. My parents, sitting at that table, table 14. I stared at it for a long time. Then I smiled. Because that table, that moment, that humiliation, it didn't break us. It revealed everything. It showed me exactly who I was building a future with.
and who I wasn't. If I had stayed, I'd still be sitting at someone else's table, trying to earn a seat I already deserved, trying to make people comfortable with my existence, trying to convince someone to choose me. But I didn't stay. I stood up, and I walked out. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Walking away doesn't mean you lose. Sometimes it's the first time you win. So if you're listening to this right now, and there's a table 14 in your life, a place where you feel small, unseen, like you're lucky just to be there, I need you to hear this. You don't need permission to stand up. You don't need approval to walk away. And you definitely don't need to shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of enough. Because the right people, they don't move you to the back. They pull out a chair next to them. My name is Fonda Marshall. I walked out of my own wedding. I raised my daughter without fear, and I built a life where nobody I love sits next to the trash. Not ever again. Now, tell me something. If you were in that room, would you have stayed, or would you